It's an honor. If it weren't for the generosity of people like you, I wouldn't be standing here tonight. I wouldn't be alive. I had my first heart attack in 2006. I was working as a caregiver, and I didn't feel right. I thought I'd had some sort of asthma attack. As a single mother of two, I was able to miss work, and I couldn't leave my client alone. So I finished up my shift and went home. I continued to feel worse, and after a few days, I could hardly have enough energy to walk down my hallway. I finally went to the doctor at my children's request. My doctor rushed me to the hospital and had told me I had had a heart attack, and I was now in congestive heart failure. This was where my journey began, with the wonderful doctors at Providence Heart Institute. The cardiologists at Providence provided excellent care, and I was stable for a number of years. After many years in congestive heart failure, my condition worsened. And in August of 2017, my daughter and I were walking to the grocery store, but I didn't get very far. I collapsed and lost consciousness, and I was rushed to the hospital. My daughter called 911, and they took me to my wonderful friends at St. Vincent's. My doctor told me my disease could no longer be managed with medication. I needed something like a LVAD. An LVAD would help my heart beat correctly, giving me the energy and more time. I needed it now. Excuse me. This was the first time the foundation helped me with my care. Thanks to donor support, I was able to receive some critical dental work. I needed it in order to be a candidate for the LVAD. With my teeth in better shape, I received my implant on August 30th, 2017. My recovery went well, and for about a year, but there were many adjustments that I had to make with the new LVAD. I wore batteries 24/7 and plugged myself in at night. I was thankful for my little pump. It kept my heart beating. I was still here, and my heart was still beating. Unfortunately, in September of 2018, I developed an infection, and it was serious. They gave me IV antibiotics and surgery to physically remove the infection. However, sometimes simple antibiotics are not enough for an infection in a device. I needed a heart transplant, and I needed it yesterday. At that time, I would have been sent to OHSU for my transplant, but their program had shut down. Dr. Abraham and the team quickly got together to find a solution for me. They were able to arrange a hospital-to-hospital transfer, and I was to go to the University of Washington Medical Center in Seattle. I was not well enough to travel up there on my own, so they transported me in an ambulance all the way up I-5. Bumpy ride. Once in Seattle, I spent 2 weeks in the hospital receiving antibiotic treatments to keep the infection at bay, while being run through a battery of tests to qualify for a transplant. I would have to physically qualify, but also financially qualify, which felt insurmountable. I was terrified. In order to receive a transplant, you have to stay within a certain distance, as you heard earlier, of the hospital. I was not sure how I would be able to stay in Seattle for 3 months of aftercare. I was so worried, not only about being sick, but not having the resources for the care I needed to save my life. My kids needed me. My grandkids needed me. I needed a transplant so I could continue to be here for them. Many long hours were spent by my caseworkers, and their team at Providence, trying to find a way to make this work. They were not giving up on me. Eventually, I was allowed to go home, and I was listed 1A status, the highest priority for the next available heart. Once home, I received daily infusions of antibiotics to keep the infection under control. We were in a holding period, watching and waiting for that very important phone call. I had to go to Seattle for a follow-up visit while I was still on the waiting list. I was there for a routine LVAD checkup when they discovered my blood pressure was high. I had to be hospitalized while I got it under control. While I was in the emergency department waiting for a room, my LVAD coordinator came in and said, "Well, I have news. We just heard. We have a heart for you." Of course, I was overwhelmed. It was like standing on the brink of life and death. I felt like I finally had hope. All the worries of the details melted away. I just had to surrender and allow my community to come together for me and get me through this. They told me it would take place in the morning and not to worry. They were working on the plans for my aftercare. The morning came, and I headed down to pre-op with my daughter. We met the team that would do my transplant, and I was prepped for surgery. I went into the operating room and handed my life over to the doctors. And after 16 hours of surgery, I woke up on the other side. I opened my eyes. Oh my God, I am still here. Still here. I spent a few days in ICU before they moved me to more comfortable floor. The team had already jumped into action, once again, working out the details of the aftercare. And during my 10 days in recovery, my social workers from Providence worked tirelessly to help me find housing at the transplant house. Thanks to the generous support from the Providence Foundation, I was able to stay there for the whole 3 months at no cost to me. Without this help, I could not have even received a transplant. This support saved my life. October 16th of this year will mark my 1-year anniversary with my new heart. And thank you, my donor. I'm sorry. And there isn't a day that goes by that I'm not grateful. Grateful for the care and the compassion of my doctors, nurses, and social workers. For the community of people that rallied around me to get me the things I needed. Grateful for the financial assistance that literally saved my life. With every beat of my heart, I am reminded of all those who helped me survive. Because of them, I get to be around for my children, Aubrey, Vincent, and my grandchildren, Ivy and Levi. They are my whole world. I'm here because of generous people, people like you. By making a gift tonight, you aren't just giving money, you're giving life. And you will never know how powerful that these gifts are. It is life. Thank you.